He says he's good to go. Is that,
Yeah, that's what I've been told, and he practiced yesterday fairly hard, so that's a good sign for him and for us.
There's a lot of talk with the guys about Hendricks today. Maroon mentioned some stuff yesterday just about trying to stay motivated, making sure you're playing for the guy next to you. Is that a concern for you? Do you feel that they're where they're at, or do you like where they're at?
It's a tough, at this time of the year, you put in a lot of, grind time to try and take a shot at the playoffs, and obviously we're not in that position. So it becomes a mental battle night in and night out. And, the cliche is we're professionals, we should be able to show up and play hard, but it does become taxing mentally. I think there's too many guys in that room that have way too much to play for to decide to take a few nights off, and that starts with free agents. That starts with unrestricted free agents. That starts with players that are coming back and are battling for positional status. We get Osterley up here, and he's opened up some eyes. Davey's a prime example. So to get comfortable and say, hey, I'm just going to come back and go into the, into my spot here in Edmonton, I think it would be a grave mistake on many of our players, including the very upper end guys. I did a study the other day. I went back and looked at Edmonton's roster from last year and the number of players that played in an Oiler jersey at one point. And, if I'm driving home in the car and I'm saying to myself, well, if it's not in Edmonton, it's going to be somewhere else, I'd go do that homework. Because for a lot of them, it wasn't somewhere else. It was nowhere. And, we're in 28, 29, 30 range. Those players aren't quite as desirable as the Stanley Cup champs, even if it's on par. So I guess I'm answering your question in a bit of a cruel way. Maybe I need to tell the players this too, but I'm sure they listen to your show. So.
Laurent Brossoit is going to get another opportunity here. For a guy that's used to, if you had a bad game, he'll get in right away. This time you had a bad game, kind of stew and sit for a while. So what do you expect?
To set that up for LB and for everybody, Cam's our starter. He's our go-to guy, and he will be for a long time the way he's played. So that's a situation that LB's going to have to get used to playing at the National Hockey League level. And if he has the ability to overcome longer periods after starts and he can recover, then we've really got a good one. If he doesn't, we've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to find that out over the next little bit. So he'll play tonight. He'll play a few more games as the year goes on. But I think Cam has clearly established himself as a go-to guy here. And LB's starts at the National Hockey League level, and I've been lucky enough to see all of them. Some have been tremendous. One hasn't been that good, so where do we go from here? And I know that him and Schwartzy have had real good time to work on some things that they thought they needed to fix, and we'll see if he can apply it.
Matt Hendricks this morning spoke of how he has little kids and he tries to get them to do certain things, and sometimes they don't listen. And he somewhat equated that to hear what you and the staff are trying to do, and the kids, players, maybe not listening as much. Is that fair? And if that's the case, are you surprised at this point that might be happening?
I think it's a pretty good observation by Matty. I'm not saying that's happening here, but just life in general. Like I have two kids, and I know they hear. I'm not sure they listen all the time. And there's a big difference. They hear what we're talking about in there. Are they listening and applying it all the time? And I think that's Matty's story to you. And sometimes it takes having a family and some little ones. For those of you that have kids, I think you get it a little bit more than the guys that don't. But they all hear. Do they listen and apply is the big question. And I was frustrated the other night. I think I used the term insanity because we are, I don't know if we're trying to prove the formula for failure. We've done that enough. Let's try something else. And pinching and not covering and cheating offensively and giving up outnumbered rushes continuously to other teams is the formula for failure. So let's try and change that as a group. Let's go after, let's leave insanity behind and try and apply ourselves somewhere else. That's been the message. They hear that. Are they listening is the big question.
What definition would you use for your power play as of late?
Struggling. So we have, the other night, numbers are one thing. Feeling good and attempts are another. Feeling good and attempts don't win you any games, but you usually have to get that before you get the numbers. I liked the attempts and the feel-good factor for our power play the other day. But ultimately, to win games, you need numbers. And that has to change. With Nuge back in, we've kind of gone back to 2 units. We hope they can compete against each other. And there's no excuse for some of the things that we do on the power play with the talent that we can put on the ice. So they have to get some things done. There's some other factors that come into play. I look at their, tonight's a real good example of 2 teams and how they're built and the production they get maybe from the blue lines. Just 5-on-5 play. And then power play comes into effect. They've doubled. Nashville has twice as many points from their defensemen than Edmonton does. Yet they haven't scored twice as many goals as us. So that tells you how much their D are involved in the play, and they're mobile, they shoot the puck. Ours have to improve in that area, whether it's personnel or the ones that we have. They've got 22 goals, I think, from their blue line on the power play. It makes a huge difference. That alone is probably a 7, 8, 9% swing on a power play. So we've got to get better in that area. And that's not just Sekera, Clendenning, Osterley, Davidson playing on the top. That's some of those guys that are out in those flank sides. That's Jordan Eberle. I haven't seen Ebb shoot one in the net from a flank position. I haven't seen Nuge shoot one in from there. Now, mind you, he's only played 1 game. Leon up in that area. It's not about the pretty, it's about the goal. And so I went on a little rant there about our power play.
Does every team though need a guy who can really shoot hard from the point so the opposing team is saying, this might hurt, or you can score a goal from 50 feet out?
I'm not sure if it's the velocity on the shot or the shot selection, the ability to get it to an area where others get rewarded. But number 6 can shoot it pretty hard. And Yossi, you take Weber, Yossi, and Forsberg, and I think they're at 11, 6, and 6 as far as power play goals from that upper umbrella. It makes a big difference. My 10 years, I've watched Nick Cronwell, Matt Schneider, and Nick Lidstrom shoot it really well. Then I watched Dan Boyle, Rob Blake, and Brent Burns do it, and we're trying to get there.
What's your thinking behind trying Maroon with on the McDavid line?
I didn't think Connor and Taylor once again had a lot of chemistry going. They both like to move the puck. We obviously haven't scored a lot in the last 2 games with those types of combinations. Jordan didn't have a big impact on the game as well either. So Jordan and Ebbs go back together. Taylor and Leon go back together. There's some proven chemistry there. Put a bigger body, Patty Maroon, that will go to the net for Connor and Jordan. And Pakarinen has been he's been working hard. And he's been creating some physical battles, and he's created puck turnovers where some of the other guys that we put in that position haven't done that. So we'll give him a reward and see if he can kickstart that line.
Does some of your frustration stem from the fact that you're 70 games in now and the stuff that you've been teaching from the start just isn't taking, or at least the consistency isn't there?
I think that's fair to say, but everybody has. The Chicago Blackhawks have won 3 Stanley Cups in 5, 6 years. They still have frustration levels with certain parts of their game that they got to keep pushing. They're just further down the road. So we want to see growth. We want to see improvement. We have done that in a number of different areas. Our goals against this year have come down tremendously. So we're beyond frustration there. There's a lot of great rewards in that. But some of the game management situations, some of the decision making that we make on the ice, we do it 3 or 4 good games, and then we go off on a little whatever it is, and then come back, and we got to start all over again. We've got to find consistency. Good.